The game is an album which we can't get enough of, and this is to no one's surprise. The 1980 album was released around a time when Queen were at their peak in popularity. They were everywhere, and that is mainly due to the singles featured on the game, consisting of some of the band's highest charting songs. But why are the singles astounding? Well, allow me to explain. This number is unavoidable, everyone knows this track. Crazy Little Thing Called Love is truly spectacular, acting as a tribute to the king of rock, Elvis Presley. This mainly stems from the rockabilly sound, including Mercury's Elvis-inspired vocals.
She knows how to rock and roll, she drives me crazy.
It was such a neat idea. I love verse 3, which creates this sweet build-up, with the hands clapping until it all comes back in, and the guitar solo deserves more recognition. Crazy Little Thing is rather simple, at least for Queen standards, particularly when compared to Somebody to Love, Bohemian Rhapsody, or Killer Queen, and that is only further addressed through the lyrics, solely being written about the excitement of love.
I just can't handle everything.
This is a song you will feel inclined to stick on and dance to. I mean, just look at Freddie Mercury strutting his stuff. Meanwhile, him and the other band members sport cool leather jackets. What's not to love? Save Me, it's a poignant number, consisting of powerful lyrics. Brian May wrote the song about a friend who went through a bitter divorce.
Save me, save me, save me.
Lyrically, it expresses the pain of loss, and therefore being alone. He's calling out for someone to save him from the trouble he is experiencing. The instrumentals complement the lyrics, with how there are large dramatic build-ups, and once we get to the choruses, Save Me has this anthemic quality to it. It's no wonder why Queen played the single live so often. It's only essential that I briefly mention the way Save Me ends. You have the chorus/outro slowly fade out, only being left with the emotive sound of a piano. One of my favourites, Play the Game. Freddie Mercury's vocal performance here can't be overlooked. He makes use of his falsetto, which acts to portray him as vulnerable in the game of love, especially here with the bridge.
Driving me insane.
Of course, there's an astonishing guitar solo, though I wish to focus on the piano. To begin with, it exudes both tension and comfort, although as the number continues, the sound becomes more and more aggressive, further accentuating the point that the game of love is complicated.
All you have to do is fall in love.
Overall, the lyrics are nothing too deep, and this goes for a number of other tracks on the game. It's solely Freddie telling us to play the game of love. Moreover, he states that it is easy, though we should not play hard to get. It's evident that Queen broke their no synth rule here, with how the track features overlapping rushing noises, but I see this as reflecting how the band had chosen to change their sound, with going into the new decade. Another one bites the dust, a single which will forever be one of Queen's most notable hits. It was different from anything they had done prior, enforcing the point that the band weren't afraid to experiment with different genres, as the track incorporates elements of funk disco. Meanwhile, Freddie Mercury's vocals still maintained that more rock-oriented sound.
There are plenty of ways that you can harm a man and bring him to the ground.
Obviously, I need to mention the bass riff. Much like Under Pressure's, it's simply iconic at this point. In terms of the lyrics, they've always appeared as enigmatic, and it's clear why with how verse 1 begins. Who is Steve? Well, it turns out that the popular interpretation of this number is that Steve is walking down the street silently, meanwhile holding a machine gun. Slowly but steadily, the lyrics and instrumentation build up. We are left questioning if there is going to be a fight. The track then gives us some context, touching on why Steve is acting like this, most likely because he has lost a lover. The number ends with bullets being fired, another one has bit the dust, although we are left unsure, wondering who he killed, but it's most likely that he shot his ex for revenge. When it comes to Need Your Loving Tonight, it's a single many often forget about, which is a shame. Sure, it is somewhat forgettable, but that's not to say it's bad. In fact, the single is easy to listen to, being yet another number written by John Deacon. The song will most likely remind you of music by the likes of The Who and The Beatles, namely because the song incorporates the power pop genre. It harkens back to a different time, and it's the simplicity of the track which is most appealing. Lyrically, Need Your Loving Tonight describes a guy who misses his ex. As the number progresses, he can't ignore the fact that he desperately wants to get back with her. This is most apparent with verse 3. In conclusion, the game featured Queen at their peak in popularity, and that is reflected through the 1980 album's singles, with it containing some of the band's biggest and best hits. Additionally, the singles showcase the variety found within this album, with Crazy Little Thing Called Love having elements of rockabilly, and Need Your Loving Tonight being power pop. If you're mainly interested in the singles when it comes to albums, I recommend you listen to the game, as it's astounding.